everybody and welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a little bit of a different video, but we sell Janome sewing machines in the sewing school, and lately we've been selling quite a few, and a lot of people come in and they don't know what machine to buy. So what I thought would be quite a useful video is if I told you sort of 5 things that you should ask yourself to help you decide what machine you want. So whether you're upgrading an existing machine or you're a new time sewer and you want to treat yourself to a nice new machine, then there are so many models out there and it can be quite overwhelming. So I just thought I'd give you 5 main tips or 5 questions that you should ask yourself, and then a few tips to help you find your perfect sewing machine. So before we start, I just thought I'd tell you what machines we use. So in the sewing school, we only use the M series Janome machines. So we have the M100s, and the M100 QDC is the full product name. I love these machines so much and they're really useful. So in the M series with Janome, there's also a 50 and a 200. Difference being 50 stitches, 100 stitches, 200 stitches. And they have a lot of accessories, and the more stitches they have, they might have a few extra functions. So on this model, we have because it's the M100, we have 100 stitches, and it also has extra accessories like the cutter and the needle threader and the cute little pin cushions on top that I absolutely love. So yeah, and then at home I have the Janome DKS 100, but I have the pink limited edition version, which I think they still have, and they might be on offer at the moment. Don't take my word for that, but I'm pretty sure I've got something downstairs about that. So yeah, we also have the Janome Overlockers, and we use the 6234 XLs. In my opinion, if you're looking for an overlocker and you want a Janome one, they're the best ones. It's not the cheapest overlocker, it's the next one up, and it's super easy to thread, and they're just really good machines. Solid, good stitchings, good amount of stitch variants that you can change. It does rolled hems. I just really love that overlocker. You can obviously go for the more expensive ones, or like the Cover Pros. If you get into a lot of professional dressmaking, then you might want to invest in a big one if you're going to do it as a career, or you're just wanting a very professional finish. You can obviously go for the more expensive ones, but the 6234 XL is my #1 overlocker at the moment. I'm a bit obsessed with them and I rave about them all the time to my customers. So yeah, we have 2 of those in the sewing school as well, and I have one at home, and my mum has one at home as well. So we are all about the 6234s. So question number 1, what is your price bracket? There are many Janome machines, and one of the main things we get asked is how much are the machines, but they range from like £99 to like £3,000. So you need to have a good idea about what your budget is. It's very important to have a budget. You can, if there's a sway, you can go like slightly over, slightly under, but always have a budget in mind so that we get the closest thing we can to fit your budget. Question number 2, do you want computerized or manual? A lot of people are now moving to more computerized machines, so it has a digital display and buttons to change the options, the stitch width, stitch lengths. Or do you want a manual machine? Have you always had a manual machine and you prefer them? Manual meaning that you have dials to change your stitches and your stitch settings rather than buttons. So which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the more manual side? Do you know how they work better? Or do you want a more modern computerized machine? Obviously the computerized ones are more expensive than the manual ones, but it's totally your preference. It doesn't make any difference to the sewing. They're both great quality machines, but it's the user friendliness of them. Some people prefer manual ones, some people prefer computerized. So which one of those would you rather have? Question number 3, stitches. What are you actually going to use your machine for? Are you wanting it for more dressmaking, or do you do a lot of homewares and decorative stuff and you want loads of decorative stitches? Because every machine has a different variant of stitches. Some of the basic machines might just have a straight and a zigzag and maybe a 4-step buttonhole. But do you want loads of variations of stitches? Do you want stretch stitches, you know, like the lightning bolt stitches? Do you want different versions of zigzags? Do you want a 3-step zigzag? Do you want to make sure that it has an overlocking stitch? A blanket stitch? Do you want to do a lot of blanket stitching on your machine? Or do you love decorative stitches? Do you finish the edges of your products or your gifts that you're making for people with decorative stitches? So maybe that's what you're more looking for. So think about what you actually want your machine to be able to do, because you can buy a machine that's well under budget and then a few years down the line you're like, I really want to get into this, and then your machine is limiting you slightly. So always think about what you want to use it for and what you might potentially want to achieve in the future. So you might not feel like you can make beautiful dresses right now, but once you get into dressmaking more, maybe you will want to do that. So maybe you will want a few extra functions so that you can have that ability on your machine later down the line, because your machine should and will last you a long time. So it's not a short-term purchase, it's a long-term purchase, and we get very attached to our sewing machines. So think about long-term projects and aspirations as well before you decide on what you want to do. Question number 4 is, are there any extra functions that you want your machine to do? So as I said before, on the machines that we use, the M100s, they have things like a cutter that cuts your thread for you. So you just press the scissor button and underneath it cuts your threads. It has a knotting button and it has a needle threader to help us thread the needles. So what extra functions do you want? A lot of the computerized machines now are top loading bobbins. They're very, very useful, so you can see exactly how much thread you have in your button through a clear window on the top, rather than having to slide out the panels and undoing a door and then checking your bobbin underneath in a lot of manual machines. Do you want a top loading bobbin? What sort of extra accessories do you need to have in that machine, or what sort of features do you want it to do? And question number 5 is sort of quite a broad one, but going on question number 4 a little bit as well. What accessories do you want? Is there anything that you've seen on someone else's machine that you really, really love? And then compare a few different models. So some machines come with a lot of extra accessories and some machines come with less. So is there any feet in particular that you need to be included? Or are there feet that you can easily get hold of that fit that machine? Janome machines work on categories. So they have category A machines, category B machines, C machines, D machines. So you can buy different feet and different accessories for each category. Some of them do cross over, but it's important that you check what accessories you actually need and if you can get hold of them. Because I know a lot of people have bought category A machines before, and then a lot of accessories that they want don't fit a category A machine. So it's just the size of the free arms that you have and where the screw bits and stuff are. So you can't all put just any accessory on your machine. So think about that as well and see what machines come with what accessories. And please, if you have a Janome dealer near you, go in and talk to them. It's the best way. We can write down different machines and what they come with and the prices, and then you can go away and have a think about it and then see what's the best option for you. And also ask your dealer if there's any deals on at the moment. So at the moment there is February deals going on with Janome machines. So there'll be a few select machines that they've decided that we can offer you at a really good rate. Sometimes it's just money off, but sometimes they can throw in accessories and stuff that are included. So do keep an eye out for different deals that you have going on. But the most important thing is getting the right machine for you. Don't just get a cheap machine because it's on deal and it's, you know, under £300, when in a few years time you might want a few extra functions on it. So really think long and hard about what you actually want your machine to do, and I think that's the most important thing. But I hope this hasn't been an overwhelming video, and this is in no way sponsored. I'm not being paid to say any of this, but I am biased in that I personally sell in my shop Janome machines. So obviously those are the ones that I'm going to talk about more because I use them in my everyday life. I've always used Janome. That's a lie actually. Before I went back to Janome, I had a Husqvarna. Very good machine, very heavy, extremely heavy. But a really good machine. The only problem I found with it is when things started to break after a few years of like solid using, getting parts was really tricky and really expensive. So I went back to Janome, and I'm not moving again. I do really like Janome machines, but I know I am totally biased, so please explore other brands if you want to. But yeah, those are just 5 useful questions that it doesn't matter what brand of machine it is, you should always think long and hard about what you actually want your machine to do and what functions you want it to include. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful. Please comment below if you have any questions about anything. It doesn't have to be just about sewing machines, but maybe try and keep them to sewing machines for now because it might be useful for other people to read your comments. And I will hopefully see you next week for another video. Happy handmade, everyone.